Hey, what's up, Powerverse? Balamau Power here. You know how it is. The golden mic from the north of another episode of Powerverse. And yes, it is the Christmas special. Ho, ho, ho. We thought we'd do this one, man, so we can get into the festive season. The first Christmas for Powerverse, so we're pretty excited here. So what we're going to be doing is the wrap up. But before we do, I'd always like to show respect and acknowledge the traditional custodian of this land, which we are broadcasting upon, streaming from, podcasting from, and pay my respects to the past, the elders past, present, and emerging. I want to thank the establishment of Bulumbaja for supporting us in this endeavor, this journey, especially with the Powerverse. Well, it's a Christmas special, end of 2020. The time has come, and what a year it has been. Look, I know we've been through so much this year with, the vid, as we call it, COVID, the pandemic hit. It really, really had impacted a lot of people around the world. And, from the birth of that's where Powerverse came out of. We wanted to bring inspirational, empowering and inspiring stories right into your living room, right through the internet, so we can get through this together, and we have. Almost there right now, man, and I know everybody is getting into their festive seasons. I'm sure you're out there going, cray-cray, running around, getting the last minute shopping for the presents to get under that tree. But I think this is a great time to stop and reflect and think about what a year it has been. And, even though it was such a heavy time for many people, it also gave us that time to stop, reflect, and think about the most important things in life. And for me, it was family. It was to be able to slow down and appreciate that the existence that I have right here, right now, in this moment, in this journey, the people that I love the most. And now that we're coming into the Christmas and festive season, this is where we appreciate it the most. And I think this year in 2020 gave us the opportunity to see that outside of a context of a festive season. And I know here, the Powerverse team, we've been talking about this quite regularly, and it has been a major topic of many of our podcasts. And now we're going to bring you the Christmas special. So, without further ado, what are we doing? It's the wrap up of 2020. I guess we all are excited about what the new year will bring. But I want to take this moment to reflect and see what this year has brought us as far as Powerverse went. So I'm going to take you through all the episodes, which is 16 episodes. So we are really celebrating that. 16 episodes. And we're going to go through and, take a snapshot of some of the highlights for us in 2020 and some of the great conversations that we had with some empowering people, and bring that back, in perspective so you guys can enjoy this entertainment. And I want to thank everybody who has been supporting from day one. Since July 31st, we put out the Maiden Voyage, and what we wanted to do was just be able to create that platform for people to have these empowering, inspirational, positive conversations. And since then, it took on a life of its own. As you recall, we started as Powercast, we transformed into Powerverse, and now this is the Powerverse world. And we're just so happy to be able to do this. So while I'm on that topic of the Christmas special, I'm going to be going through and thanking all the people that has supported us in the hybrid performance. We're actually going to show a bit of that highlights as well. And with this performance, we launched here in Bulumbaja in August, and that was the official stamp of Powerverse. And you will get to see some of those performances. We had Minjul, Kind Co-op, and also Night Shift with myself performing, and that was an incredible event. Just a snapshot of what we want to bring you in 2021. We're moving into the new world on our Patreon platform. All the people who have been subscribing to Patreon and supporting us, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's because of you guys that these episodes are possible, and we want to be able to invite more people to come on that journey, to get the behind the scenes exclusive live performances, such as you will see the first night at Bulumbaja highlight reel. And we got a special delivery. Come in. Oh, Christmas came early. We got a special delivery. Everybody, Danger. You want to say hi to the camera, Danger?
How's it
You remember it from one of the episodes where we had a chat, but we're just going to give highlights for anyway. So we keep it real, organic, and you get to see behind the scenes. Maybe throughout the show, this episode, what I'm going to do is actually invite some of the team members to come in, and we're going to sit down and just introduce them so people know that it takes a team to be able to put these episodes on and bring it live to you guys. So once again, people in Patreon, the people who have been down from day one, all those who are on Facebook, who's followed, and all those who are on YouTube, who subscribed, I want to say thank you very much. Because of you guys, this is possible. So let's get into it. Snapshots. We've been consistently trying to bring you weekly live stream episodes of the Powerverse, and our mission was simple. We wanted to be able to get the community grassroots story from people who are, real people who are out there in business, out there in creative arts, out there in community, bring them on to be able to share their stories and give us some jewels and gems of how they persevere through any challenges. And that was the original premise, the original mission, the original vision, which is still the vision. And that came out of the fact that when pandemic hit, it brought such a heavy, depressive emotion to communities. And we were just hearing it, the stories, like it was being flooded into your face about all this, these very strong, heavy stories. We wanted to bring a little bit of positivity and light into it. And the outcome, the results, is that started out on July 31st, and here we are celebrating Christmas. Got me dressed up as Santa Claus. I'm like Santa Claus from the hood, We got to bring that Christmas spirit in here. I got my little friend here, what we call Elf on the Shelf, Mr. Jingles. Look at me getting into all this stuff. Next time I'm going to have a tree over here because we're from the islands. It won't be a regular Christmas tree. It'll be a coconut tree. And under the coconut tree, we'll have presents all wrapped in newspaper. And if you're watching this, I hope you're just chilling back, relaxing, because the big day is coming. I know you're going to be excited about your presents under the tree, so grab a cold beverage, just chillax, sit back, and we're going to go through the highlights. So we started out with what we call the Maiden Voyage. The Maiden Voyage, I got to invite couple of my brothers all the way from Brisbane City. We had G-Mac, Glenn McIntosh, Underdweller, and Chris Rada, who were the original members, part of the original members, three of the original members from the Poverty Ass production crew, which was the first crew that I started out rapping with in Brisbane City. Of course, there were the other members, David Poppy and Jesse Lee. They could be on that program, but we had three of the original members, and we kicked it off with fittingly the title Maiden Voyage. We started that ship flowing, and that conversation, being able to hear the insights from all those three brothers, man, it set the tone for what we were about to do. And the discussions, it's always great to catch up with brothers, but I learned so much from them throughout the journey and also through this podcast. So we're going to take a bit of a highlight from this. Here's a snapshot of episode 1, The Maiden Voyage. Hope you enjoy this.
Yeah, even performance, like you could have a big rapper or musician in any field that has never actually done a live performance.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah, We're
just... Sorry, don't jump.
No, I was just going to say whether that's a good thing or bad thing.
I was like going to say, what do we think about that?
I mean, that's interesting because I just watched the Versus battle with Snoop and DMX. And that was quite interesting, having what Timbaland and Swiss Beats created in that form of battle and culture. I think it's one thing for me. It's showing how, just like hip hop did in the beginning, how we can adapt to the changing times and still be relevant. I mean, be in the forefront in the technology. That's one thing I like about it. The flip side to that is I love live experiences and live music. So if you take away from, there has to be a balance in my world of the access to be able to watch live performances as well as experience virtual performances. However, I understand the tools being a leverage point for artists. So it's kind of to me, it's what the individual prefers. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree. Creativity is an individual, very individual thing, and we're seeing avenues that wouldn't have necessarily been respected or even sort of tried in the past through social media, using social media to engage with people, that opens up so many more opportunities for people who wouldn't have otherwise followed that path that we're meant to follow, or that we were previously meant to follow.
Yes.
So I agree.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, Jack.
I think it's good and bad, but I think the smart artists will not go completely one side or the other anyway, because to me they both complement. Like we live a busier lifestyle than ever before, so we have less time or less energy or less money, whatever it is that stops you from getting to a show. If that's the deal breaker, then you can tune in online, you can check out the stuff. It doesn't mean you can't experience it anymore. But that's one of the core things, obviously, as an artist, it's not about performing, but giving an experience, giving a feeling. Yes. And that's like, I don't think digital platforms can quite emulate that. The energy in a room and the energy of a crowd that boosts the performer and makes the performer give more to the crowd, that energy cipher that goes back and forwards. You can't really do that as much on an internet space, but that doesn't mean it can't be intimate in a different way. Like even this kind of thing, us with a few viewers, we can keep up we can like acknowledge comments, we can the audience can participate more. And I think one of the really good things is what I talk to you a lot about, Pat, is the ability to see behind the scenes of artists due to the internet.
Yes.
So, life to life stuff that it's the breaking down of icons almost, like no longer just untouchable celebrities. You can you see them interacting with their wife or kids or whatever it is, and it makes them much more human. So I think that almost is a way to counteract at the same time the live angle. If there's no live angle, then you still can connect and bond with someone through seeing their insight. And I guess that's the equalizer there. But I don't think there's a right or wrong. And as I said, I think smart artists will do both sides.
Yeah, it's just a prefer. Sorry, before I go to you, Glenn, I just want to acknowledge all the people who are tuning in. If you have questions, please throw it in there and ask us anything on this topic. Chime in. Thank you, Martin, for your comment. He's a Justin Bieber fan, and I know Martin well. He rocks around with that. So, do ask questions, and we'll answer what our thoughts are from our respective industries. Glenn, the same question, man.
Oh man, I was just gonna say, I agree. I think I agree with all of you guys that there's many variations of music, and even the one genre of music that we're all mainly into, hip hop music, as there are grains in the sand, and it's going to evolve and it's going to change. I got to say, from my perspective, live music is part of the heart of this type of music, and probably any music. So for me, I think that we have all of us have heard tracks without hearing the artist, and they're just you can feel that, a pre-recorded track, and you're like, yeah, and you vibe with your friends. But to me, there's nothing like going to a gig and witnessing that. There's only one time that gig is going to happen, and that artist is going to say that, or they're going to, say, deliver this, in a different key, or they're just going to forget their lines, or there's going to be a pretty girl there, or a big fist fight, or anything that's
that's the reason why you go. That's the reason why you go against the fist fights of the girls.
I might be there I'm definitely there for the music. I might also be there for the girls, and I'm willing to make room for the possibility of getting punched in the face for those things.
Hey, that's a life experience, man. That's what we're there for.
I think if you guys all know, if you go to this type, if you like this type of music, it's it's part of what it is sometimes.
And there you have it. That was the Maiden Voyage. We're gonna get into it. Then we went to episode 2. I had 2 deadly brothers on here. Oh, look at me knocking everything over. Anybody thought I'd be drinking eggnog? What is eggnog, by the way? I hear that thing. I watch that so much of movies. Like they get these crazy foods and drinks that come out at Christmas that I can't even pronounce. Oh man! And why is it that you only eat ham at Christmas? Like that to me was like an everyday food. Anyway, I digress. I'm going off topic. We're gonna start getting into Christmas now. I'm gonna nitpick, take apart Christmas, and then we're gonna talk about everything. If anybody's drinking eggnog right now, hey, slow down, come on now. Yes, episode 2. We had the deadly brother Phil Wally-Stack all the way from Western Australia and J Point, John J Point Edwards on the program, and they talked about the topic of self-belief. And the belief itself episode has been, it's been well received. I really enjoyed that conversation about, the idea of just going 100% and backing yourself up, believing in yourself. I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to show you a bit of the highlights. Check out this episode.
I was always told I was a show-off growing up. So I had one place to go, and this is it. But it's the same thing as J Point. My grandfather, he's a preacher, he's a pastor. And it's the same thing. It's no matter where we went, if we was if as a little fellow, if our family went around to a birthday party and everyone's drinking, the guitar gets pulled out and everyone starts singing, Then on Sunday, you go to church with your grandparents and everyone's singing there. So it's sort of just no matter what, I've had plenty of jobs, I was sales rep for a lot of places and car salesman, and I'm a house painter by trade, straight out of high school I did that. And then I just had so many jobs where I wasn't happy. But that's when I met my wife, and then, we started our own house painting business, and I wasn't happy. I was drinking every weekend, which went from Wednesday to about Sunday, just because I didn't like my life. I always say that I always drank because I was trying to escape my reality, sort of thing, And then one day I just said to my wife, I said, look, give me 12 months to put all my energy into performing. And if I can't do it, I'll paint houses for the rest of my life. And I haven't touched a brush since.
Ready? And there you check it out, Brother Phil Wally-Stack and John J Point Edwards dropping some jewels and some gems about belief in self. What a great topic. What a great topic of belief in self. And that was a great way to, continue the flow from the Maiden Voyage. The episode following that, man, classic. We're going to take some highlights of this. I had 2 funny brothers on the program. We had Sean Chulbaram, who was the host of the first night of Boom Bajar, which you will see at the end of this episode. We're going to show you some highlights, but I think what I want to do is release the full version as well. So if you're on Patreon, you'll be able to watch it. But Sean Chulbara and Kevin Kapringri, 2 funny Indigenous brothers, funny Aboriginal comedians, Let's take an Aboriginal, just funny comedians and funny brothers to be around, and having them on the program, man, it was a crack up. These cracks, man, I tell you, nothing but laughs. I can see David back in the camera, you're cracking up. So. And it's Christmas, man. But check out this episode, man. We're going to get some highlights from Brother Sean Chulbara and Kevin Kapringri. Episode 3 of Powerverse, Shabadinya. Man, coming into that world of comedy, at that time, pretty much was you laying down the foundations. What was like, the same experience up in the Torres Straits to music? There was really nothing to measure yourself off in the industry. You kind of had to do it and create it as you go. So what were the challenges that you were facing? And, because you were starting out, it would be a difficult journey. I'll throw that question to both of you.
Well, for me, I think it's and then Shawnee's was, I think he was about 7 or 8 years. I think I'm third. I'm going on 13 years in comedy, 12 years. Shawnee, you'd be about 20 years now, won't it? 20 years of comedy.
18.
18.
Yeah. So you know, like even when I first started getting the comedy, it was Brother Shawnee that took me under his wing, and I was doing his warm-up shows. Now Shawnee does my warm-up shows now. Thank you, Shawnee. But muck around, brother. Anyway, but the thing is, for me, it's like doing blackfella comedy for blackfellas all over Australia, and then you smash it into then you actually transition into the white comedy scene, in the white comedy landscape. And Australia is a big, as a comedy, what Shawnee was, I was asking a lot of questions with Brother Shawnee, you know, and so we've had to learn to make white fellas laugh and black fellas laugh. So for me, is just transitioning into white comedy, into the white comedy landscape. That was one of the hardest things I found, because making my mob laugh, that was the easy part.
Yeah. What did you find? Was it because the jokes didn't translate, or like why was that transition like that?
Yeah, the jokes didn't translate for me, and what's funny for us black fellas is not necessarily funny for white fellas, and so it was just finding that common touch where you can still be you and still talk the same way, still be the same way, but connect with the wide audience and bring them into our world and have them laugh with us. Because you do 50-50 crowds, half black fellas, half white fellas. Black fellas are going out to it, laughing their holes out. Next minute, white fellas saying, "Oh, that's funny. Am I allowed to laugh?" You know?
Yeah, that's very true though. I mean,
that's where Brother Shawnee's always helped out for me, because he goes, "Kev, we have to be twice as good." Remember you saying that, Sean? You have to be twice as good, because these white comedians can't do what we do. They can't come into our communities and make the way, brother. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
So you want to add on to that, brother? Like, you know, the challenges you face. I mean, being a pioneer, laying the foundation. The first is always gonna pretty much get the brute force of everything. So I'm very curious to hear, like, you know, some of the things that the challenges that you have had to persevere.
Yeah, I think, you know, like from starting out, I think, you know, obviously, one of the hard parts was, you know, it is an all-white industry. You know, it is an all-white industry, and there's, you know, there might be, you know, a few Asian comics and Indian comics and a couple of African comics and Greek and Italian, and there's no sort of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island reps, you know, and that are doing the like stand-up comedy circuits. And you know, and I think one of the probably one of the obstacles was, you know, are they going to find our style of humor funny? You know, because most blackfellas, we talk with a bit of an accent. You know, we have a blackfella style, a little accent, or we might add in a couple of our own little words or our own little slang or lingo words and stuff like that. And I remember doing a couple of the comedy clubs, and I think an Egyptian comic said to me, "Get on the footy show." And I remember he told me to get on the footy show, and I went on the footy show, and I think that's where it kind of really exploded for me, like in terms of the coverage, you know, and going on that footy show when I told the joke about Kung Fu and stuff like that. So I think that's when everyone realized there and then.
That's a good joke, by the way.
We don't have to be a singer, or we don't have to be an actor, or we don't have to be a dancer, you know, or, you know, we don't have to be a rapper, or we don't have to be, you know, any other type of job. Now, we created a brand new job role, you know, like a new avenue for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people to get into. And since then, long story short, you know, there's all these comedians now. There's you know, and more Torres Strait comics, more Aboriginal comedians, and now they're becoming you know, comic writers, things like that. And
Yeah, definitely.
you see them group circuits and that, and it all started from me being 10 years old and a fella saying, "You should do stand-up comedy," and it just started from there.
What a crack up. Yes, that's it. And that's Sean saying, shove it in ya. Figure it out. You can figure out what that means. See the hand sign? Shove it in ya. Yes, episode 3. Christmas. Hi, we got the staff and the team of the Boom Baja, baby. Thank you. See, everybody's getting the Christmas spirit. What is Christmas, by the way? Christmas. When did that day come in? Oh, there's many stories behind what Christmas is. But what does Christmas? Even a better question. Let's not go back to the history because the truth is I'm not prepared for it. I didn't do the background research. I know Saint Nicholas though. Saint Nicholas, that's supposed to be Santa Claus. Yeah, Black Santa. So he called me Saint Pat. Okay. I guess the big question is, the question that I want to throw out to the audience tuning in is, what does Christmas mean to you? And this is the moment where it's about reflection, and taking the time to appreciate the moments. I guess 2020 was a whole big year of that, of reflection. An exciting journey. For me, it was a spiritual one. It was one where I really took the time to reconnect with myself. And rediscover myself, because when you get caught up in a world of continuously moving, it becomes such a rat race where you forget who you are and you lose yourself within all the noise. So let's try to take the positives out of what happened in 2020. I'll take you back to the first time when this hit, the pandemic hit this year. I got caught here. I was flying back to the islands, to the Torres Strait Islands from Melbourne, and I got caught in Cairns, and that completely threw me off. So I had to set up shop in Cairns, which took that temporary situation ended up 6 months, which is now a permanent situation. I'm like, I fell in love with Cairns. I'm like, okay, I gotta stay here now. But I traveled back to the island still. I guess in that time, what I've seen and I've heard from many of my closest friends and families was the uncertainty. Oh, we got someone in here? Right, cleaner coming, trying to come. It's not even closing time yet. What's the... Oh, we will keep it organic. It's so good. We're keeping all this in. There's no editing here. It's Christmas. But where was I? The uncertainty. The uncertainty was the biggest thing that happened. Like, in all honesty, even for us here at OBHI, when it hit, it completely obliterated the whole plans that we had for the next 3 years. And that moment of uncertainty, really, two things would happen. One, it sent everybody in a state of depression where reflecting on life is like, oh my God, WTF, where do I go from here? Because we've built this whole world around what we were currently doing and what the old world was. But upon reflection, in that time, it also gave the opportunity to redesign what our future was going to be. And because of the uncertainty, there were multiple possibilities. Now, we try to find the positives in every situation, right? Nothing positive about the impacts or the virus itself. However, the time that it got people on lockdown, even though it was such a long time where a lot of people were really, finding it heavy to be locked in, in restrictions, what we did was we used that time to launch and redesign what we wanted the future to be for us, taking that negative and turning it into a positive. Powerverse was birthed out of that. The hybrid performance was birthed out of that. The Patreon community was birthed out of that. Now, I come from the entertainment industry in Australia, and what happened was it got decimated. It really got impacted, and every artist that I knew, from community to mainstream, in metropolitan areas, in very remote communities, were all impacted, as in every industry. It all just got impacted. And finding work just to be able to bring income was so difficult for many industries, and in particular the creative arts industries. And I've seen it downsize, and half of it is all gone now. Artists that I knew were in the industries, people that I knew were in the industry are no longer in the industry. And that was, I believe that's a global impact, but I can only speak from Australia, and I can only speak from a First Nations perspective. And what we wanted to do was to be able to explore what the future of the entertainment and creative arts industry is going to be. And what we found was there were events that were moving everything online. Events like Cairns Indigenous Arts Fair, which has made a great move and in pivoting at this time. They could have shut down for 2020, but the organization decided that they wanted to support First Nations artists, especially up in communities, and continued on in the transition to moving everything to a virtual performance. Organizations like the National Indigenous Music Awards, the NEMAs, the NAIDOC committee in Victoria for putting on their events. Moving everything online was the transition. The risk of that was understanding how to move everything online and still be able to keep the value of the art that was presented. And this posed the question of, will there be an expectation of free delivery of live performances, which is a question we pondered upon here in OBHI. My Superman cape is flying around everywhere. Sorry, I'm Super Santa. Gotta get it right, man. Gotta get it right. Yes. So we pondered up on that very same question. How can you bring a experience or a performance but still retain the value to an independent artist? And that's where we discovered Patreon. And Patreon, what it allows us to do as creatives is allow the audience, you guys, to be able to experience the art that the authentic art and authentic experience that we create and deliver, but also support the artist in bringing the same value as you would do in a live performance. And that was the birth of the hybrid performance. So our hybrid performance is within the restrictions of COVID. In a venue, we're able to have the capacity of live performances, but then we stream it live to anybody virtually. And you get to see that performance or that experience in real time and experience it through the lens, experience what everybody else's experiences in the studio. And that's what we believe the new model is. The podcast supports that, as you can see what we're doing right here, right now. And that's what we want to continue to be able to grow. So if you're not on Patreon, go check it out. You can see some snapshots. Within this podcast, you will see some highlights of some of the events that we put on. And it will give you a context of what we're trying to build. And we appreciate every single one who supported this. All those who are currently on Patreon right now, and all those who are about to sign up, because I know you give me a Christmas present. I know you want to give me a Christmas present, so sign up. Yep, just sign up for Christmas, and you can check out some of the stuff that we've done in 2020. But yeah, you'll see more of us doing this, and I believe this is where independent artists are venturing into the future. Of course, we want to still be able to tour, but with this new Zoom culture that this pandemic has created, I believe this is where all the experiences from our tourism sector all the way to the creative arts will be heading into. So I won't speak, I'm speaking too much about it. Let me just show you a bit of the highlights. Here's a performance, one of the songs that we've done from the first night at Boom Bajar. Actually, I'm going to show you a performance from Minjo, so check this one out.
Bilang ngap pimbin jen pama ngale kadang ngale morgo Ngayon pa ka na ngayon pun banda. Orbuitin bama. Ngayon pa katan. Yung ngor. Wiwin yung tuba. Nakating. Irin marmangaro. Irin pulpa. Igo pulbaja. Punya kadangan gaya. Wakko jangan ngalah. Bilang katan. On behalf of the Warapara people of the Unity Nation of Kimwe, Cairns, we would like to welcome you to the city of Cairns. As we know it, Kimwe, come share our fire as we take you on a journey and show you how we are connected to the country, to the spirit of the land, the air, the seas, the waters, the trees. We give you permission to understand, to jump. Nang kajing man. Yala lang ala. Jam ya wai, kanaka. Yo. Bicara. The song and the dance performed by the ladies of the family to clear the space, allowing for ceremony and celebration to take place. It is only after the kudara that is performed by the ladies that now we can commence ceremony and coming together as one. Our people have built systems according to the land and spirit. We are coming into the time of Nyunguru and Dukolowor. This is the time when the hot air is created. And this in turn designs whirlwinds that pick up dust and leaves and blow through the air over the landscape. This time of year, we expect cyclones and rains to form and build. We call this time Nyumburu, which is also associated with the Kurabana moiety through Damri, one of the creator beings. black cloud brings the rain to replenish the earth. Lightning will strike, and reborn will be a new world, fresh, clean, and green. This is the time of Numero. Electricity fills the air and connects and touches the earth. Quiver and Kuyuro, they form arid sea, bringing the winds and the new destination of our culture and our belief systems. This is time when life is hard. The wet season is set. Life is different around this area of time and place. And we, as a society, have adapted our beliefs and systems accordingly to the environment that we are a part of. The babies that are born throughout the year, this is the time of ceremony when they receive their names. There is also a second brother connected to our moiety system. His name is Kuyala. Kuyala is the second brother, the second creator being that we conduct our spirit through and our belief system. Kuyala also flies in the sky in the form of the eagle, looking for the prey in the oceans of the coast of Kimoy. This is Kuraminya moiety. These are the two moiety that stand side by side. Guruminya will marry into Gurabana, and Garabana will marry into Guruminya, and so on and so forth. Down the line, crisscrossing, coming together to form our relationships and our families and our next generation of who we are. Come fly with us as we take you up. We come together to share just a little bit of our song, dance, and culture with you, the audience before us. We invite you into our homes, which is our landscape, which is our stories, which is the knowledge of our bloodlines. And together we will celebrate. When I was a little boy, growing up, becoming a man, we had to go through storylines and knowledge. We had to walk through country. We had to wade in pools. We had to be dipped in the medicine water to receive the acknowledgement from the spirits of this earth, to then continue into our focus of what it is to be part of this great nation. It is done this way, time and time again through the generations, using the elements, the water, the air, the smoke, the fire, the earth. This is we become one with each other. The old people, they always call out. When they go into country, to a sacred place, or to somebody's home, they will kawal. Kawal means to simply call out. We call out to the spirits. We call out to the ancestors. And here, we are going to call out. We're going to call out to you that are watching from afar. We are calling to everybody here tonight that is seated here. We are calling to our mothers, our fathers, our ancestors. We are also calling to the next generation that have not been born yet. May they be blessed, and may they be instilled with the culture and the belief and the strength and the integrity that is being passed down, and also the knowledge that is evolving that makes us one. We want you and everybody here to come out with us and feel and know what this means. For we are not just vocalizing sound. We are vocalizing and giving praise and thanks to everything that we are a part of and that surrounds us. Yunduba kawal. Good. On behalf of our families, our clan, the Unwrappiing people, and the UNWRAPPING Nation, Bulanda, belonging to this land, Gimoy Upande, this country, Gimoy. We would like to take this time to also acknowledge the elders here tonight with us. And afar, we would like to acknowledge all the cultural practitioners that are blessed and share the knowledge of the past. We want to say, Bilang Katan, Bilang Katan, that you enter and come forward. Katan, that you come now. You are welcome. Kanyara, dulu kali ini. We thank you, and we will see you soon.
And there you have it. And that was the Minjo performance from the first night of Boombaja, where we launched this Powerverse universe. And that's the type of experiences we want to bring to the screen, to the lens, to you guys out there. So come on, throw a Christmas present our way. Join Patreon. So we're carrying on with the episodes. We did the show with Sean Chobara, Kevin Kirpingeri, and then following that, episode 4, I had my brother Underdweller from the Poverty Ass production crew on to talk about the subject of hip-hop lifer. I mean, that brother is such a knowledgeable guy in the realm of hip-hop, but also we were talking about entrepreneurship and being, independent creatives who has the mentality of the do-it-yourself. The do-it-yourself mentality, and he just released his line called Hip Hop Lifer, which is a apparel line, a street apparel, and it's something that we always venture into doing as creative artists. I mean, the Powerverse, Power Nation apparel line, we have that, and we have a few people that have featured on our podcasts speaking about entrepreneurship, and this was one of those episodes. And then we moved into episode 5. This episode, I had the deadly sister Samantha Martin come on, better known as the Bush Tucker woman, and she spoke about her journey and her experiences from a young black woman in this country, and the things that she endured, the challenges, and how she persevered. And this was such a powerful episode. Everybody who was tuning in felt the emotions, felt the power, felt the honesty, and I feel it was very liberating having a voice of a strong woman being able to share her story and having the responses of other women all around the world tuning in and participating in that conversation. I'm going to give you a snapshot of this. This is Bush Tucker Woman with Samantha Martin, episode 5 on Powerverse. Here's a highlight of that episode. Now you've gone through this journey and you made an amazing transformation. And when you said that sign where the eagle came down and picked up that brim, my hair stood up on the back of my head. And I've known from the longest I've known you, you've been very, very connected to culture. You've always been that person that I've seen. And during this journey, the next part of the journey now that you went on, how important was it to have that be with you, like carry that with you and understand it, but not only carry it, but live it?
Oh,
If you could share your experience.
yeah, look, I don't even know where to start with that, Bala, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are saying, we grow from our adversities, and we learn how to apply our pain and our happiness into any situations. We must go through all of this to make us a better person. And I don't look at my adversities or my challenges as something that is a weakness. I see that as something that has given me the strength to really be the person I am today. I grew up very poor. I grew up with an alcoholic mother. I grew up without a father. I had, abuse in my family. I was abused. I was physically abused. So people look at me and they go, yeah, but you look so beautiful. You present yourself so well. You're educated. You speak so well. And, like when I start to talk about my story, they go, I didn't realize, you were a victim to that. And I go, no, but I wasn't a victim to any of that. I'm not a victim to that now. I may have been, but I don't choose to be a victim to that. I've gone through life blessing those experiences. It's the only way I could heal from it and forgive those people who've hurt me, and the healing started, it had to start with myself and my mother. And, my mother is such a beautiful, strong woman, and she's so cultured, but she's had a lot of trauma happen to her as well. And at the age of 13, I watched her always getting, or as long as I can remember as a kid, getting bashed up by her partner, and then trying to, help her and fix her up. And, got to the point where I'm 13 telling my mother to fight back and say to her, if you don't fight back, you're just showing me that I'm going to be weak, that I'm going to have this happen to me. You need to set an example and show me that I need to be a strong woman, but I don't know how to be that if you're not that. So in that moment, things change, and Sister Maury, if you're listening to this, you probably, like this isn't, it's a private affair that happens in homes that we don't expose, like domestic violence is something that is not talked about and not discussed. It is that shame factor, that in the daylight we're this as a family, but at nighttime we're something different. We're dealing with a lot of things behind closed doors and in our houses. So I had to understand that I didn't want to be like my mother. I didn't want to be like what my culture was starting to look like, which was, alcohol and drugs and all of that. But although I did that, I didn't realize I was doing it. I didn't realize I was actually part of it until it was too late. And it was like, okay, I've got to check out now. And time, it almost forced me to have a good look at myself and go, do you really want this? Didn't you say when you were 13 you didn't want that? Why are you here at 19 and you're doing it? Like, come on, make better choices. What is it that you want to do? So yeah, like my life has changed. I've experienced so much. I've traveled the world. When I was young, I always thought, and we had black and white TVs, and that's showing my age. But I remember watching the Bush Tucker man going, oh my God, look at his job. He get paid to do that? Going on country, that's what we do anyway. I want to be like him, And then, I'm like, I know that, Barry, I know that, and so that's kind of where that seed planted was about the Bush Tucker woman being on TV. And when I'd say to my friends and family, I want to be on TV, they're like, you gammon, you're not going to be on TV, or I want to write a book. And they're like, big waves, how are you going to write a book? You don't even know how to read,
We hear them all the time.
Right? So I'm like,
yes.
Crab, they want to bring you down too,
Now, how powerful was that? Just loving the story. And that's what this is about, people who bring real stories to the screen, to our platform. And show real courage and give real jewels about how they persevered through these challenges. And that to me was very inspiring, and it made me reflect on my own journey, as I think it did many people who were tuning in. But you can catch the full episodes. Actually, all these are just the highlights, just to show what we've been doing in 2020. Yes, we have been working. We're not just doing this for fun. This is what we do. This is work for us, but we love it. So it's actually play and work at the same time. But if you want to check out all those episodes, just go and check out www.moupower.com, and you will see Powerverse, which has all our episodes, all 16 episodes. This one as well, 17 episodes, which you can go back and watch the full story of all these episodes. The next episode, episode 6, I love this title, Hunting Fear. I had this deadly brother, Benjamin Brundon, on, and this guy holds the Guinness World Book of Records of crossing all Australian deserts within 30 days. I don't know what I still don't understand. I had this like, he has a book out called Hunting Fear, but I had this conversation trying to get into the mindset of why would you do that? Jump on a bike and drive across all the deserts in Australia. Bruh, check out the map and you see how wide this country is. Go check out and see how much of the desert this covers, and he crossed them all in 30 days on a motorcycle solo. That was inspiring. All in the World Guinness Book of Records. And, getting into the mindset of being able, just the mindset of what he went through to prepare for this was such an inspirational story. And the title, as the title suggests, it was Hunting Fear. And with his journey, which you will see, I'm going to give you a snapshot of this episode. With his journey, it was all about challenging the self. We went through so much challenges in life, where to face those challenges, this is what his solution was for him. And you know what? I'll just give you a highlight of the episode so you can hear for yourself. So here is Hunting Fear, episode 6. First of all, I really wanted to ask, why write this book?
So I'm lucky. I've always been a writer. So my day job is I'm a tradie. I'm a roofer by day. So I wear high vis. I'm swinging a hammer all day. Now my mum, when I was younger, she always encouraged me to write. And we did have a very hard childhood, and there was abusive boyfriends and drug and alcohol abuse and all that sort of stuff. So this is my second book. Mm-hmm. So I actually wrote another book about my early life and overcoming a lot of pain in that. So it's basically the same sort of genre, the same sort of story, in the sense that there's a lot of pain and suffering and rise up and overcome. And that's the book that got me kicked out of the police force. So
I wanted to get to that. That was so interesting that because you spoke about how real this book was, and there was nothing spared in it. that was the first book, right? And because of a book, you got let go from the police force. I was shocked. I didn't understand what was going on.
In hindsight's a magnificent thing. And don't get me wrong, I hold no ill feelings towards them. Like I'm living my best life now, and I'm so grateful for the whole experience in hindsight. Now, look, obviously my first book, which I never bothered to publish, because this book is the same story about a man overcoming, the battler and the underdog, just coming up, rising up and beating the odds. The same story. But the first book just had a lot of, it was a lot of dark times when I was a kid. So they just said I was a liability to the police force, and they said, you're too high risk. And I said, go stuff yourself. And got on a motorbike. And so I talk about that in the opening chapters of this book, and some of the conversations.
Yes. I'd like to take a moment to say good night to everybody joining in. I got Marty from Cairns, Sabon from down in Victoria. I got Dwayne all the way from Townsville. Thank you guys for dropping comments. Please ask more questions and drop comments if you're tuning in. I hope you're enjoying this program. And thank you to everybody who's tuning in right now from wherever you are. We appreciate your time. Yes, and going back to our story, brother, this book you actually dedicated it to your mom, yeah?
I did, yeah. She's been a driving force in my life.
Beautiful.
She was an amazing woman, strong woman, raised 3 kids by herself in a foreign country, and worked around the clock to provide a life for us. Unfortunately, lost her fight with cancer when I was 19 years old. So although she hasn't been with us now for nearly 20 years or 18 years, certainly through this journey, I have a very close relationship with her still spiritually. We're very close. So, and she's certainly helped me write this book, and she's guided my hand through the whole process. And she certainly was with me when I was in the desert, or certainly in some of the wilder parts of the country, keeping me alive.
Amazing.
You cannot convince me otherwise. Just there was some crazy miracles that happened out there that were just like too uncanny to be a coincidence.
Yes.
And I just think about my mother all the time when those things happen.
Amazing. We're back. Man, I gotta. This suit is. Everybody's putting their fists out. We're back. It's super cape. This is the different. Man, I got a cape. Like, it's a mini cape. Super Santa. This is a different suit. Like my beanie. Yeah, we keep a hood in here, man. Now, here's a question. What if you see the Santa that looks like me coming down your chimney? What would you do? You better leave me some milk and cookies, man. And what's up with that, bro? Milk and cookies. I don't think Santa needs any more cookies, bro. This is not PG rated, I can tell you that. Anyway, you're here with the Christmas special, Powerverse. Hope you guys are just chillax, sitting back, and, having something to drink, having something to eat, watching this this episode as we wrap up the year of 2020 with all the highlights of all 16 episodes. What a journey it has been. I mean, from the you should go back and watch the first 3 episodes, man. There was so much stuffing up in that. We had so much learning experiences, but that's what it's all about. And we've graduated from in my living room to the boardroom. So we're here. We're moving on up, baby. Moving on up, people. See, I even got a TV with the sign about. We're moving up, man. All right. Episode 7. This episode, I had the opportunity to speak with a deadly brother, Mark Monk Ross, better known as Monkey Monk. Hip-hop icon, pioneer, especially for Aboriginal hip-hop in Australia. Pioneer in the media sector, especially for, like I said, for the Aboriginal hip-hop. This brother came on, and the title's fitting. It's Indigenous Hip-Hop Pioneer with Mark Monk Ross. This episode, we go and dive into the journey of this brother and how hip-hop impacted Australia. The introduction of hip-hop, especially to remote communities and Aboriginal communities, was an instantaneous bond. And the two cultures have coexisted ever since. I mean, I am here because of hip-hop. This is the truth. I mean, I fell in love with that culture when I was 7. It came through. I didn't know what it was. Remember watching shows like Breakdance, Wild Styles. Not Wild Styles. Yes, Wild Styles. Breakdance, and all these hip hop, movies, the music. I mean, De La Soul. The first song I actually remember that had an impact on me was "Ring Ring Ring" by De La Soul. If you don't remember that, it's like, "Hey, how you doing? Sorry, I can't get through, but don't you leave your name and your number, and I'll get back to you." Anyway, you can go check that out. But that song really, really impacted me, and that's where I really fell in love with the whole culture and everything. Break dancing, b-boying, graffiti, beatboxing, rapping. It all came at once, and I've been in tune with the culture ever since. Became a hip-hop artist myself. I'm a rapper. I traveled the world. I've created a career and created businesses because of hip-hop, because of the movement, and because of music. And now we're here in the media sector, podcasting, all in hip. I mean, I even make Christmas look hip hop. I dress hip hop, bro. That's how we do it here, man. It's Black Santa. But yeah, so this brother, man, his conversations. This is why I love this, but we were rocking underground as One Blood Hidden Image up in the Torres Straits. I mean, before it was the entity was the group. One Blood Hidden Image was the group, the first rap group to come out of the Torres Straits, the one that really paved the way and created the platforms for other artists to be able to create it as a career and businesses. We did that. And we were so underground, pushing out music through YouTube. We didn't know what it was. We were just putting videos out of YouTube back in, man, this is 06, 07. And we were just pushing music out and people were bootlegging that, burning it. Man, we hearing stories our music were playing over in NT and WA and we had never left the islands yet. And the brother Monkey Mark got a hold of a couple of songs, but one of those was Round 2, and from the OBHI collection, and he played that on his indigenous hip hop show, and that just put us mainstream. And because of this brother playing our music in the heart of Sydney, people knew of the Torres Strait rap group OBHI, and that's when our interstate or our touring started. We were invited to go to the Big Sound Showcase in Brisbane. We did that. Then we did shows in Sydney. Then we went down to like Adelaide and all over, man. And it was just and it was because of that. Like once he played the music on his show, that was it. We were made. We were celebrated, and I want to thank him for that, to be able to break new artists. And that's what he does still. He has his own radio show. Go check out Monkey Monk. And he will, man, you'll hear the music that he brings. It brings the vibe of the old and the new and blends it really well. So that was episode 7. You can go check it out. Then we move into episode 8. And here I invite my brother Casey Kayo Levi onto this program, and we call it Homeboys. Homeboys is the foundation. Homeboys is where all this started. I started with a song called Homeboys. Homeboys was a collective, a group of youth that came together and created our own community up on Horn Island. We call Narupai. And there was this basketball court that the older brothers built on dirt ground, and that was our sanctuary. That was our place where we played. I mean, it was just plywood, with the plank and a basketball hoop that an old one that they pulled out of the garage and stuck it up there. And we were playing on dirt gravel road, and this is in the bush. Like if you drove past it on the main street, you couldn't see in. It was only this this bush entrance, and once you walked in there, it was our playground. And that's where the birth of everybody came out of. And we talked about that in Homeboys. Literally, the birth of Mau Power was in Homeboys. If it wasn't for Homeboys, there would be no Mau Power. And none of this would have existed. It taught us so many things about entrepreneurship, do-it-yourself, being able to create your own tribe, and also perseverance through the challenges of lack of resources. We had nothing, man, but we had everything. So we created something out of nothing, and we call it resourcefulness. I want to show you a bit of snapshot of that conversation. So here's episode 8, Homeboys. Now, we talked about, when we catch up there, we talk about that, the foundations. And this is where I really want to go in, because it's really the birthplace of everything, I think, my mindset of how I think. And this is Homeboys. Now, Homeboys was how it is, and what most people don't know. If you're not from Horn Island or from the Torres Straits, Homeboys was a community the youth made for themselves. And it started out with a few of the older brothers coming together in a dirt area near, across from Gateway Resort there near Akela Mills' house, and created a basketball playground out of just bits and pieces, just so the youth can hang out. But something else happened in there. Like, we created ownership into our own community, which I know Homeboys still has a legacy up there now, because every generation is the new Homeboys generation, and Homegirls as well. And what I learned in that space I believe it introduced me to this culture called the DIY culture, the do-it-yourself. I mean, we were no resources, like no one, we had no facilities on Horn Island, nothing, but the brothers had the mindset enough to be able to come and say, let's build our own fun. Let's build our own playground. Let's build our own stuff. And that was very important because it was the birthing ground for Mau Power. Like my first hit song was named Homeboys. And I want to get your perspective and experience because we were there, like, and it's not until you look back, you're like, oh man, how important that was.
Yeah. Look, it going back to them days, we really made something out of nothing. You know what I mean? We had a basketball team, but it was more or less being in an environment and understanding that you can become something from nothing. You know what I mean? That's, for me, that speaks itself, and we weren't a gang. We weren't a gang, but anyone else would say, oh yeah, you were part of the Homeboys gang. We weren't a gang, we were just a group of boys. We and we still have that connection today. You see it everywhere. You see it on Facebook. You bump into whether Pickaninny or the boys or whatever. But I tell you this, it didn't only play a part in our lives, but it still holds a part in the community there on Horn Island, because for my nephew, now in the last 2 years, he comes down from Horn Island. He comes down for holidays and he spends time down here. And every time he comes down, hey uncle, I listen, you probably was the original Homeboys. Ask me the same questions. I was like, and I think to my, like, the first time I didn't really think anything of it. I just like, yep, that was us, this, no, we didn't do that, but yes, we did that, stuff like that. But the second time when he came down, in a sense, I got a bit of, like, he annoyed me because he wanted to know more, and he was like asking and genuinely interested to have a conversation about, and I was like, you asked me this last time, but he said, yeah, but I want to know, like, it's like, oh, this and that, and how did it start, how this and how that. And then after that conversation with him, it made me think and realize that, for us, we were living it then, and we obviously, everyone's moved on and stuff like that, but that foundation is still there. Absolutely. They're still carrying that legacy on, and they're still thinking, and for him, like, he's 13, 14 years old, and we're that's going back, going back a long time, almost 2 decades, almost 4 decades, almost 4 decades. Yeah. So and that's a long time, for something that we started to still be, carried on in the community and thing, because at the end of the day, like, we know that for us and our culture, we want to belong to something, we want to belong to, have an identity, Yes, we were Torres Strait Islanders, but within Torres Strait, we were part of a much closer and a better group, and which was then called the Homeboys, and each to our own. We all took away what we took away, but we all had different background, bloodline, all over the place and whatever. But we still, we still had fun, we still had laugh, we still, and for it to become what it is today, it speaks for itself. You know what I mean? And it's not like we went robbing banks and stuff like that, man, because, it was something good.
Welcome back. I hope you like that, man. I'm probably gonna put up on SoundCloud, Homeboys, the song, so you can have a listen to the foundations of a young Mau Power rapping to get into this game. But there it is, the foundation, Homeboys. I hope you enjoyed that. This was a trip. This was a spin out. Well, after we dropped that episode 8, we were, what was I doing? I was working on performances here locally in Cairns, and then we had some families come down from the islands, and one of Casey's nephews came out and it's like, homeboys, hey, we watched the podcast. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, this is, no lie. They took a podcast and the English teacher in school played this in high school for the students to watch, and I learned about what it was like growing up, and they actually study our podcasts in high school up in the Torres Straits. So I'm honored and proud that this journey has allowed us to enter many living rooms. I even did talks over in London, virtually, of course, in London. And over in London, they're watching the Powerverse. So our episodes are actually reaching global living rooms. And we are really, really humbled and honored that we were able to do this and continue to do this. Coming towards the end of the show, I will tell you about a bit what you can expect in 2021. So from there, episode 8, we had a wrap-up show in episode 9. Then episode 10, we had the young brother Eben Love come on this show. Now, this was special for me because right now I am podcasting in Boombajar. Back then, this was called the Center of Contemporary Arts, Coca Theatre, and was very famously known for the jelly babies that they had front, the giant jelly babies. And this is where, in 2015, I made my debut in theatre. I was able to come in here and do a theatre show of the Mau Power experience, taking an album called The Show Will Go On, creating a show called Sing Strong. And that's where I met this young lighting technician and designer named Eben Love. A cool brother, man. He had this. This is where I fell in love with lights. Okay, lights, like bright lights. I should have Christmas lights in here, man. And you can't see it right now, but one of our tech guys, Nick, just set the mood in here with the lighting, and he just kind of sets this environment. It's kind of romantic, actually. Just kidding. Jokes. Merry Christmas. So yeah, this is where I fell in the lights. He created this lights design, and of course we had the beautiful Auntie Rita Price from Price Center Arts. She was the head choreographer and director, designer of the show as well. So I got to learn about the theater show, lighting, stage presence, all of that, and it completely blew my mind. It was a new way of being able to express and tell stories. And I can see why people fall in love with theater. And if you go check out the first night of Boom Bajai, Eben Love is also the lighting designer on that event. And you can see the progression of what we did and why I fell in love with lights. But I met this young guy. He did the lighting on my show called Sing Strong. And hearing his story, so inspiring. We're going to take a snapshot, actually. Here's a bit of a highlight of that conversation. This is the art of lighting with Eben Love. One interesting thing, which I believe is very valuable, that I want you to share. Before the show, we were talking about your attitude towards volunteering. And I want you to share that because I was really inspired by that, what you just said with that. So, I'll let you tell your story about volunteering, man.
Well, yeah, volunteering has always been kind of a cornerstone in my kind of career, really. It all started back in as soon as I finished high school, really. I did a little bit of volunteering while I was in school, here and there, but yeah, when I finished school, and everyone wants to have that gap year, or the nap year, that some people say.
I like that.
So yeah, Mum actually, Mum was kind of my main influence in starting to volunteer, and she said, "Oh, you just got to get some more lines on your resume." And I kind of took that by surprise, like actually, yeah, the lines on your resume are kind of like experiences in your life. that you can promote. So, yeah, volunteering is amazing. You can get all this knowledge from people that are working and actually in the moment. You're not getting kind of secondhand information that there's kind of they have to remember. So when you're there and in the moment, it's just like that's when the knowledge is flowing and you can just watch. And that's I can't talk about volunteering enough. It's just amazing. And like I'm still volunteering today, like with Tropical Arts. I mean, Tropical Arts, I've been with them for 10 years now and would still volunteer for another 10 years and more, because just seeing people in the environment where it's just about creating and just loving life. So that's kind of what I want to say about volunteering.
Now, how powerful was that? It's great to hear young voices, speak about their journey. And look, even though he was a young brother, man, I learned a lot from him, especially being able to work and collaborate with him. He's such a cool cat, chilled out dude, easy to work with, and really loves what he does. Like, we really get creative with when we get into the theater. But that's also why we wanted to create these platforms, is to allow the voices of everybody, all walks of life, to bring their experiences into the program, into the show, and share jewels and drop gems to inspire and empower us. And I have to say, like, when I engage in a conversation, I like the conversation. I want to be able to leave the conversation more enriched in life and perspective. That to me is a great conversation. And being able to host these programs, like the Powerverse, I've left each and every episode more enriched in life and in perspective and in knowledge because of all the people. It didn't matter what age, what gender, where they came from in Australia. It was just so empowering, and I think I'm a lucky guy, but I benefit more, I think, from this than anyone. I get to sit behind the microphone, ask these questions, and be wowed by all these people. And if you go back and looking at all these highlights in these episodes, you can understand why I love doing this, why we love Powerverse, and why it's been growing ever since. Is because we want to bring the positive stories. We're tired of hearing all that, stereotypical, shock value, negative stories. We're about positivity. We're about inspiration. We're about empowerment. That is what the Powerverse stands for. Now, episode 11, let's take it to heaven, 11. This was deadly, bro, because I had my brother Danger on this program, and it was so fitting. The best thing about this episode is this is where the transition of everything that went from Powercast to Powerverse, and he said it profoundly in this thing. It's a not a transition, but it's a renewal of life. Like it's a transformation. That's what he called it. And that episode with Brother Danger, man, I think it hit really, because he did a freestyle rap. It was the first freestyle rap he had on the program, and so background of Brother Danger. He is an original member and the founder also of One Blood Hidden Image, the group. One of elite MCs, man, and being able to have the brother on and speak about his perspective on the journey of culture and life. Not only just the music and our journey, but just culture and life. And his knowledge on that was inspirational. And that was the birth of Powerverse. Matter of fact, we're going to go and take a highlight of this so you can check out the conversation. So here it is, Legacy with Danger. Well, let's get into a freestyle right now. Yeah. I got the beat ready, and I'm sure people want to hear this stuff.
Yes, well, I'll try my best. But
okay, drop comments, give feedback and stuff. All right, I hope you guys can hear this beat.
Yes.
Like I said, it's brand new. We're trying something new here.
Okay.
And here we go.
Give me the beat, bro. Mic check, mic check. Ball of Danger, Legacy, live and exclusive. Come on. Yes. Let me do your freestyle rap for you. Come on, what we gonna do? Yes, me and Bala Mau Power with the old crew. Yes, oh well, when I wanna set the temperature, oh yes, I'm the entrepreneur with power coming up. Oh, in this podcast or powercast, everybody know, can you give me the forecast of the weather? Yes, this is a new season. I got to tell you now, this is Bala Danger coming up, and I'm ripping mics for Jesus Christ. But anyway, that's my transition in life. Yes, one step as I will encourage you. I will encourage you, but what can we do? It's beautiful when the lyrics come straight from your mind. Freestyle doing a freaky design in my mind. Yes, that's what I do when I open mics when I come up. Oh yes, dropping hit tonight. Yes, on this powercast, what can you do? One step. Oh yes, can you view all the audience? Can you come? Stay connected when I come. Yes, my rhyme's perfected in this rhyme when I come. Yo, everybody know where I'm from. This is Danger Old. Yes, legacy one more time. Come on. That's freestyle. That's it.
Oh man!
Wow.
That's so.
Yes.
So dusting off the cobwebs and getting the microphone out.
Yes, sorry.
No, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
Wow, no, too good. Now, how cool was that rap? We had to put the rap in there again. That's what we do at Powerverse, man. We want to have fun. We want to have fun in everything we do. Because, hey, you only got one life to live. Might as well make an amazing life. Like I was saying, man, make it spectacular. You got to live this. We're coming to the end of 2020, which has been a heavy year. Everybody's so looking forward to 2021. I mean, the conversations of people like, I can't wait till this year is over. I'm trying to embrace the moment. I'm like, okay, this year has been heavy, yes, but embrace it all. Take it all with you. Live in the moment, because these will give us the lessons that will allow us to persevere through 2021. We've been through challenging times. We've always been through challenging times, and I believe the human spirit is such a powerful, powerful entity. And when you understand this, no matter what challenges get thrown at you, you'll be able to persevere. And yes, I'm looking forward to 2021. I'm excited, but I'm also enjoying this moment, man. Like, enjoying Christmas, just sitting here, being able to embrace the festive season, appreciate the moment, appreciate the journey that we've been through, and appreciate this being here, being able to speak to you all the way from in Cairns, in Gimwe country, to wherever you are around the world. This has been a blessing to be able to have these conversations with these great people, but also be here to entertain you. And I want to thank you for inviting me through your screens, into your living room, into your homes, into your lives. I hope we can continue this relationship and building this power tribe. And I hope to bring more and more inspirational stories to you guys so we can all grow together. Now, we go up to episode 12. Now, this episode was special because this is where we released my first single, Stand Up, featuring the Deadly Brother, Fred Leone. And we did a few things around this time, which you can check out on Patreon. We did a live stream, behind-the-scenes explanation of the song, hosted by none other than the brother Monkey Monk, Bala Mark Monk Ross. We brought him on to be able to host that live show with me of the music, behind the music, on Patreon. And then we did this episode, Stand Up, talking about the song, and we released that. And right now you can go check it out on Spotify. You can check it out on all our platforms, but Spotify is where we want people to be able to follow us on, and it's been going crazy. And this song is also featured on the Looky Looky Here Comes Cookie documentary. So without further ado, man, I'm just going to let you have a listen to the song. We won't even have to go into the highlights of this episode. Just I want you to appreciate the music, because that's what we still do. It's the foundations of what brought us here. And Stand Up was a powerful moment, because throughout the journey of 2020, from the pandemic through to the Black Lives Matter movement, through to all the community advocacy and movements that happened throughout 2020, this song epitomized all of that for me. And we dropped it out, so it was almost like a release, taking that load off the shoulder and just releasing it to the universe. And it has been well received. It's right now on, you can go and vote for it for Triple J's Hottest 100. It's been getting much love on Triple J, Double J, and just getting so much recognition. I'm just so inspired by the song. I hope you guys are too. Stand Up. Go check it out. Spotify. We'll drop the link in the descriptions, and you'll see the link at the end of the program as well. We might have something pop up on the screen somewhere here. Merry Christmas. Here it is. We gotta keep it all lighthearted in here, man.
Freedom declared is rare. Prepare a new age mantra. A nation remains in chains with its propaganda. Maybe the knowledge be a logic in the nation's banter. Maybe the problem is the current knowledge is the cancer. I spit a verse from a forbidden journal. Ancient flows designed in the poems to serve you. The naked truth, the endeavor done became for circle. Virtuous pens transcend, so respect the virtue. They use possession as their greatest weapon. Policies follow, disguised in the term protection. Protect from who? Who protected me from you? When our truth is called a lie, and your lie becomes your truth. What followed? Blueprints of annihilation. Stolen generation, the death of First Nations people. Australia's hidden misery, unlock a black history. Now raise your damn fist with me, my people. One time we're gonna stand up. Yeah. One time we're gonna stand up, shout out loud. Yeah. One time we're gonna stand up, One time we're gonna stand up. Yeah. One time we're gonna stand up, shout out loud.
Then we moved to episode 13. Now this episode, we call it Black Friday because it came out on Friday the 13th. And following stand-up, it became a heavy time in community. I think, tensions rising, everything, coming towards the end of the year, emotions are heightened. But I had the deadly brother, Fred Leone, who featured on stand-up. Mark Ross and Underdweller on the program, and we were talking about the issues within community. And this Black Friday episode was stemmed from an incident that happened up in Dumaji, where Dumaji is a community up in the Gulf Cape areas of Far North Queensland, in Australia, for those people globally who don't know where it is. And it's a very it's one of the communities, indigenous communities up this way. And you can look it up on the map, Dumaji. And what happened was a elder within the community got mistreated by excessive force from the law enforcers, police. And this set outrage into the community. Now, what really happened as far as why he was treated like that is uncertain to us. I mean, there were allegations about... and a few scenarios of why it happened, but it wasn't a matter of why, it was what happened. And this elderly gentleman, who has been believed to have just come back from a heart surgery, was on the healing, on the mend, and got excessive force used to restrain him, and we played a video to this. We'll actually give you a bit of a highlight of this episode. This is episode 13, Black Friday.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm Garawa, and we're the next mob over from Wanya, and that old fella, he's a Wanya elder, and we got sent that video last night, just off the phone, and from a friend from up there, from Barangu, Gregory, which is another little Aboriginal community just outside of Gregory Downs, just outside of Dumaji. And, broke my heart. And then I had to share on Facebook, and called a couple of family members, and they were telling me what happened. So then today, got in contact with that old fella's son, Shane O'Keefe. He's the son of that old uncle there now that was assaulted. And just been back and forth with him for a few hours today, trying to work out a way where also got on the phone and messaged warriors of the Aboriginal resistance, sent a message to Sister Michelle, who runs the Stop Black Deaths in Custody Queensland Committee, Stop Black Deaths in Custody Committee Queensland. I was one of the founder members as well, but just said, hey, cuz, this just happened. Can you arrange a meeting? Try and arrange a meeting with that the police commissioner and a few other people to be able to have a yarn with this the head of, instead of mucking around with the body of the snake, go straight to the head and talk to them about these injustices that just keep happening. And it's bad enough that it happens to our young fellas, and now we're watching our elders get treated like this. It makes it so wild. Like, I couldn't sleep last night. I barely slept. I was in that much of a, almost like a rage, just getting sick of seeing it and hearing it. And it's NAIDOC week, and like we were talking about it just beforehand, like, and Yudi was saying, Underdweller was saying, they won't even fly the flag in Parliament. So what kind of respect is that? Like, we're not getting respected, and we're given the respect, but we're not given respect back. So it's just frustrating, and it's getting to the point where, we need to be coordinated, and that's what everybody's starting to do now. And we saw it when Black Lives Matter, when the Black Lives Matter stuff happened in the States, and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander mob around the country mobilised and said, well, here, you want to get wild about that? Have a look in your own backyard, right here where you live. Your people are doing this to our people right now. So it was holding a mirror up to Australia, not only in the States for the American mob, but here in Australia, And sadly, what I feel like with the Black Lives Matter movement in the States is they're forgetting about all the First Nations brothers and sisters. There's Aboriginal women in the States going missing every other week.
Yeah.
Unsolved murders, and police assaults on Indigenous people over there. So just brings back, it's good for everybody to look and judge the state in America for what they're doing, but have a look in their own backyard, clean up your own backyard first. Yeah. So, I feel like now, if we can do this right and get the momentum in terms of people coming out in Queensland, because there's restrictions are low there, to be able to come en masse again and push it, they got to listen, and they're starting to listen. Like, they're meeting regularly with the Stop Black Queensland Police and DATSIP, head of DATSIP, and people like that, and head of Queensland Health and Mental Health are meeting with the committee, Stop Black Deaths in Custody Committee, semi-regularly, to look at avenues and ways of how they can implement change, But it's weird because, it's hard to think about even implementing change when what's happening with the police, I feel like it's a microcosm. It's a smaller version of what's happening in the country in general. We're only 2.5% to 3% of the population. So we get overlooked there. And then, the last statistic was 60 to 70% of Australians have ever met a blackfellow. So, and like saying that they met a blackfellow doesn't mean they've had a meaningful conversation with a blackfellow to know where we stand, right?
Yes.
And so, and what we're going through. And so I feel like with police, with new recruits, especially when you look at this video, that young fella's only in his early 20s, mid-20s.
Yes.
And so they get sent out and they're told from the get-go, we're going to send you out. We're going to send you out to the hard communities, toughen you up. As soon as you get recruited, you go out to the communities and they go, you're going to earn your stripes out there. They're already saying to them, they're putting in their head that blackfellas are dangerous and scary, and they've already come from communities where they've never met Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people. All they've heard in their whole life growing up is that we sniff paint, we're petrol sniffers, we'll rob you, we'll stab you, we're pedophiles, we're dangerous people. And then these young people go on to become police officers in a force that's already, I'll say it's racist. They know, you get Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander officers in the force that speak about it, and they can't even speak out about it, and then they're forced to leave the force, and it's after they leave the force they can talk about it.
Yes.
But you get that mentality going into the force. They're already scared, so by the time they get put in a community where they're told that you're going to earn your stripes up here, mate, you watch, it's rough. And then they go in, they're already paranoid, already scared, going with all these misconceptions and preconceived ideas about who Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are. And then they get dumped in a community and they don't know how to relate to people. They've never spoken to a blackfella. They just see dangerous. They see an old person standing there. Oh, dangerous. I've got to manhandle this fella. He just had heart surgery. You know, he's got a carer. He can't even walk. That's what my family's telling me. They see this old fella every day.
Yes. I mean, after everything that you've seen with the Black Lives Matter movement, to be able to see this still in communities, as you can see, you can understand why it brought heavy emotions to the communities, but also set outrage through a lot of major key advocates throughout this country. But this continues to go on, and what we wanted to be able to show on this platform is we offer all perspectives. We want to bring it real and raw so you know what the world is. I mean, we keep it inspirational, empowering, and positive. That's why we have these voices on, but we also keep it real. These are the stories you won't get in mainstream media. These are the stories that come from community that they experience every day, and we want to be able to be real with that because it's the life we live, and this is real out here. That was Black Friday, episode 13. Now, we went to episode 14. Episode 14 was another wrap-up, just introducing the concept of Powerverse, the name transition, and why we wanted to, build this movement. And in the Powerverse, it's like almost like the multiverse. Which is, speaking about multiverse, I was just watching this, the Spider-Man, the multiverse. Is it multiverse? Spider-Man multiverse or the Spider-Man universe? Into the Spider-Verse. Man, I was watching that the other day. That's one awesome movie, man. I'm a fan of, I like Spidey, man. I watched I think in the last 2 weeks I've watched every single Spider-Man, even back into the old 80s Spider-Man movie, man. So, I don't know why, but I just got into this whole Spider-Man, Spider-Verse. So, Into the Spider-Verse. What? Into the Spider-Verse? Into the Spider-Verse. So we're saying this is Into the Powerverse. That's what we're doing this right here. We didn't take the title from Spider-Man, of course. No. We created this completely separately. It was fine. I don't know why that popped into my head, but I kind of like, he likes red too, man. I think he has Christmas colors on, doesn't he? Oh, no, he has blue instead of green. Imagine a Christmas Spider-Man. That color, that would be something. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the wrap-up. Christmas. Oh, Christmas me. Merry Christmas. Now, here's a question. Have you been naughty or nice? I've been nice, but I've been naughty. Now, okay, where do we go from here? Episode 15. Now, episode 15 was a very, very, I enjoyed this program. It was another inspirational program. I had a young brother from the islands on, Ernest Beckley, and talking about community and communications. But what I enjoyed about this story was the young brother has just completed his course in mechanical engineering, taking 5 years to go through and be able to work towards completing that course and obtaining a degree in higher education. Now, this young brother, I know from Horn Island, he grew up he and my younger brother, they're like twins. And it's all family, man. Growing up and seeing this young brother embark on his journey from sports, then going into higher education, completing that, and just the mindset that he had, especially completing that at this time, the pandemic. That's what I was more interested in. I was really wanted to see how what it was like completing your studies in such a time where the pandemic hit, and how did that have an impact on you mentally, spiritually, and emotionally? And in this conversation, man, it was so inspiring. The things that he had in his mindset, the things that I do as well, and other things that I do. You know what? Here's a highlight of the episode. This is Community and Communications with Ernest Beckley, episode 15. Take us through, when you get into that academic system, it's exciting, but then the challenges. What were like a lot of the challenges that you faced as a young person in a big city?
Hey, sorry, I just seen a comment there from Balafeni de Bani.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, the challenges. There were many challenges. I mean, like the smallest thing, like the very first thing was learning how to take a bus, and so let me take a step back. So I was when I accepted my course and everything was sorted. Basically, all I had to do now was start to attend my class. So I moved in one of my aunts who I haven't met before, and she met me at the airport. So I flew down from Horn Island on the Saturday, met my aunt, moved in. Sunday, she showed me how to jump on the bus and everything. Sunday, she took me to the campus, showed me around. Monday was my first class, and the first class was actually at another campus that we hadn't been, like we weren't there, we didn't check it out, and that was the first challenge. And then, man, there were many challenges, but getting used to the Sydney life. I mean, I still struggle now, but it is what it is. But I think from the academic side, I think I got burnt out because I was putting in a lot of hours. I was working really hard. Something that's sort of been ingrained in me, especially because my old man, he's I've always seen that he's a hard worker. Works long hours, and I've always seen that. But one of the things is he always told me, don't work hard, work smart. But I've only seen him work hard. So I think I went through a slump because I was working so hard that I burnt myself out. I was always lethargic, always, couldn't really concentrate, couldn't grasp certain concepts. And then I'm not too sure, I kind of went through this slump where, I was basically failing, 50% of my subjects for about 3 semesters or so. How I didn't get kicked out of uni, I'm not too sure, but they kept me there, and I don't know what happened. I think there was this drive. I sort of told myself, you know what, I'm not going to go out this way. Like, I'm not going to give up this easily at uni. And so I started to work a lot smarter, I guess. But I was still working, pretty hard. And a lot of the students, a lot of the people I go to university with, they know how hard I work. But I think it was more figuring out, being more smart, or managing my time, and really diving into, there was not a formula, but there was a way that, instead of working, studying for 5 or 6 hours straight, break it up and really focus on, sort of, I'm not exactly sure how to explain it, but it's like, it was more condensed and packed way on how to really approach things. And that's sort of what I figured out after I went through that slump, is really how to compress everything and, sort of shorten my time, not shorten my time, but where I'm able to spend less time but get the same amount of work in. If that kind of makes sense.
Man, so much great stories, so much great stories. Episode 16, the one that just recently passed last week, we got to have a conversation with Samuel Carroll, another young brother who I met on my my first theater show here in Boom Bajar, which was formerly Coca back then. But he did the sound. He was a sound techie on that show, and he came through. Always and it's such a big fan. So shout out, brother Sam. Samuel Carroll. He's also a VIP patron. Always he's supporting the movement. He's one of the major ones that's been pushing everything that we do. But he came on. I had to invite him on as a guest because he just released his apparel line called Just Released. So he just released. That's really cool when you say it like that. But the Just Released apparel line, the title is Conscious Apparel, and his streetwear, the stuff that he puts out into the world for people to buy. Like proceeds from that, he moves it into organizations of to create awareness around mental well-being. Also, his initiatives of over this period, 50% of all his proceeds, that he gets from all these apparels that he sells will go towards supporting families that need it within community. So they're buying, I think they're picking 5 families from the community that are in need and getting them Christmas hampers and Christmas gifts. That is something special, people like that doing it. That's why we create our businesses, is because it's our own, supporting our own, supporting our own. Yeah, that's what it is. Growing our own, supporting our own. And he speaks about this very well and why he started this apparel line, Just Released, and what his intentions are. And I think having that, it's called conscious entrepreneurship, conscious business. I mean, that's where we want to be able to be in, and being able to not only create and stimulate your own economy as an independent or as an entrepreneur, but being able to give back to your community is what we're all about. So having him on, seeing his journey to where he is and having him on was something special, man. And it was like everything came full circle. And you can support him. Actually, we're going to put a link to where you can get Just Released apparel. If you buy that, man, you also not only supporting a small business, a local business, you're also supporting the initiatives that Just Released wants to bring out into the world, and that is to create awareness around mental well-being, as well as being able to support families in need within the communities. So go out there and get one of those tees, one of the Just Released apparel. But we're going to take just a small snapshot. If you missed last week's episode, here is Sam Carroll, Just Released. Something really profound that I haven't seen a lot of businesses do, and it's a give back mechanism, especially for this part of the Christmas. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so our shirts, we decided to give back. This year been such a crap year for everybody. It's not just ourselves, but we wanted to say, all right, through our clothing, how do we give back? So 50% of our proceeds that were made from the shirts will go towards Christmas hampers this year for 5 families that are in need and unfortunate to have Christmas. So to go and do that, gathering some Christmas stuff to provide and give back was what we will continue to do in any way. So get out there and grab your Just Release shirts.
Where can they get it?
So we're on Facebook.
Yep.
At Just Release Clothing. We're also on Instagram at just.released.
Yep.
And also a website, justreleaseclothing.com.
Yep.
And Just Release is spelled JSTRLSD.
Yes.
So we've taken the vowels out.
Absolutely. We're going to put it on the links. You'll see it on the links below. You'll see it in the description. So we can link everybody. But that's amazing, man. So what does the future look like?
Endless opportunities. Get out there, get creative, and take what comes.
And there you go. That's the brother, man. That was episode 16. All 16's episodes. So what was it? Conscious Apparel. Here's a Christmas Carol. That was a rap by Jack. Jack Black's back. He's laughing at the fact I'm saying, right, I'm gonna introduce everybody to the camera. Actually, Jack, come around here and say hi to the cameraman. So behind the scenes, this is the team. This is Jack. Jack Nisa.
This cameraman's direction.
The director is okay. What are you doing? You dancing or something? All right, so that's Jack, man. Jack's the guy behind the scenes. He does anything that you see on the sites and everything. Being able to keep the website updated. Jack's the man. Jack's the man. And we have also here monitoring the sound. I'm gonna get him to come in front. Nick, come on, just say hi to the camera. Can you say hi, Dane? Is that?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Why I'm showing this? We're all celebrating Christmas together in here right now doing this podcast, but it takes a team to be able to put all this together. Behind the camera, we have Danger. I don't know if you want to come in the front of the camera. Of course. You've seen him from episode 11. You've seen him in the highlights, but he's the man himself again.
Merry Christmas. How's it going, audience? Love yous. What's up? This is Black Santa. He's coming down the chimney in 2 days' time.
I might get stuck in the chimney. Wait, hang on. Coming down. What house in Queensland has a chimney? Have you ever seen one here? I don't think I have. I'm coming down the drain pipe. I was going to say something inappropriate, but I won't. But that's the team. The OBHI team, the Powerverse team, this is what it takes to put all this together. And I want to say to the guys, thank you very much for being on this journey with me, creating Powerverse and being able to put this out there for the world is growing into something special, which I hope it will grow and continue in 2021 and beyond. So Merry Christmas and thank you very much. And you guys, I probably can't hear you right now, but give them a round of applause. I see you clapping. Give yourselves a round of applause, guys, in the room. We're going to celebrate after this. I mean, what a year it's been. And it's almost coming to an end. But Christmas is upon us, the time where we reflect and share these special moments with the people that we love the most, family, friends. We reflect and see the people who didn't make it here to the end of 2020. And, we know the Spirit is with us. We welcome in all the new bonds that have come into 2020. So many, I know just within my own family, so many new family members were born throughout this time, and it's great to see new life. It's very inspiring when you look back on the whole journey. And now we're here. When you're unwrapping that gift on Christmas morning with your family, I want you to take a moment to appreciate that moment where you share that connection with those that you love the most in that time. And know that you are here, that life itself is the gift. You wake up on this day and you unwrap those presents. Remember the present that you have. It's called life. You're here right now in this very moment. And soak it all up. Because if one thing that 2020 has taught me is that nothing is certain. Nothing is certain. And uncertainty has been the biggest lesson of this year. And appreciating every single moment that we're here, now that's a gift. We're here in the present, Powerverse. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the people that have supported us on this journey. In particular, people who were sponsors, especially for the first night of the Boom Bajar, but also been continuously supporting the Powerverse podcast, but the Powerverse movement from day one. iTech Group, I mean, that's almost like family, those guys, and we have, regulars that come on the program like Mandy. I know you're always on here. Thank you very much for your support. Bala Martin Kernbach, thank you very much for your support, and just the iTech Group. After I do this, I'm going to do a highlight of Sean Tulbar thanking the same sponsors, man. That's what I want you to do because he does it way better. But I'm gonna do this as from myself to these groups who have supported us. So ITEP Group, thank you very much for your support throughout 2020. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I will see you in 2021. Now, Tagai Management Consultants, my brother Murray Saylor, the sister Julianne Lambourne, always support from day one, you know. Even before the Powerverse was out there, Tagai Management Consultants have been big advocates and supporters of OBHI, as we have been of their movement as well. The Tagai Management Consultants movements, they've been doing groundbreaking new movements throughout 2020, which will only see some very, very empowering things come out in 2021 in the global village, impacts in the global village, as the Balamari Sailor would say. But thank you very much for your support throughout 2020. Wishing you guys a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. MJB Solutions, MJB Solutions, the sister Gil Mailman, thank you very, very much for your support throughout 2020. Hope to see you in 2021 and beyond, but wishing you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Fiber Optics NQ. Fiber Optics NQ, once again, thank you very, very much for your support, and wishing you guys a very Merry Christmas and a very, very Happy New Year. Indigenous Wealth Hub, thank you very much for supporting the First Night of Boombajar, but also supporting the Powerverse. So we wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. And don't be for all our sponsors. Don't be alarmed. It's just me coming down the chimney, okay? And we Islanders, so don't leave any milk or cookies. Leave like Tim Tams or maybe some chicken and rice or something like. Or leave me hamper tin. Yes, hamper tin. For those who don't have an island friend, okay, I will tell you. If you want to really, really show your appreciation to someone from the islands, buy him a tin of hamper or her a tin of hamper. You have made their day. 2 tins. Oh, man, you're going to get so much love. Don't forget the potatoes as well, because we'll make hamper stew. And rice. We're going to put up a picture of what the hamper looks like here. This is the tin. No other tin but this hamper tin. Can I point? I'll just point here. Can we somehow put the hamper tin here? Yeah. Hamper and rice. I don't know where that came from. That's Dane. Look, I bet you look, we're hungry right now, okay? That's why we're talking about food. Minjil, my brother Carl, 4 Mile, supporting always, from the beginning of this journey here. We all in this establishment, this great establishment here, Boom Baja. But Minjil, I want to say thank you very much for your support. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and your team. Kain Kuap, thank you very much for being a part of the First Night of Boom Baja. Also our performances and events down at the Salt House. I want to say to the families there from Kain Kuap, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And Boom Baja, this has been our home for the better part of 2020. Pretty much moved in here 2019, towards that, to the end of 2019, and set up base in here. They've allowed us to be able to do this and just been supportive. I mean, the groups from Boom Baja and Arts Queensland, you guys have been rocking, man. It's nothing but a supportive family and network over here, and we love this environment. We're able to do things like this from here. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this space. So get used to it, because this is a new home. But thank you very much, Boom Baja. Thank you very much, Arts Queensland, for your continued support. I guess, what else is coming up? Right now, I could announce a few things. We're going to be doing a Powerverse New Year's Eve event at Salt House. And I want to say thank you to Salt House as well. If those don't know who Salt House is a venue here in a venue/restaurant/ establishment here in Cairns. It's based on the Cairns Pier, and they have partnered with OBHI and Powerverse to be able to do creative events. And this New Year's Eve, we get to perform with the night shift and Mau Power for the New Year's Eve event to bring in 2021. And that's going to be what we're doing New Year's Eve. And on New Year's Day, they want us to host a cultural event, which they call the tropical cultural event, and we'll be able to bring some cultural experience to bring in 2021, and we're excited about that because that's what we do here over at OBHI, here in the Powerverse and our Power Tribe. We want to be able to bring these experiences to the great audience in far north Queensland, and Salthouse has been Mavericks in being able to partner with us to be able to do that. So I wish the team at Salthouse, Bull and Bajar, and Arts Queensland a very Merry Christmas and a very, very Happy New Year. So, where else to go? Nowhere, just go home. That has been the highlight reels for 2020. Hang on, sorry. Needed to get that out. So, that has been the highlights for 2020. What a year. Powerverse started out in the living room and a concept and idea to be able to just bring empowering and inspiring stories. And 17 episodes later, here we are at Christmas. It's been an amazing 6 months. 6 months plus is about that, 6 months. It was amazing 6 months getting this out there. What will happen now next year when we come back? So we're gonna have, this is the Christmas special. New Year's we'll have the show, New Year's Eve show, and the show at Salthouse. But coming in the new year, we're gonna be bringing more podcasts to you, more different programs. We've got new programs coming in. We're gonna introduce to you the Power Circle. The Power Circle is a black table talk, and it was something that's it vibes similar to the Powerverse podcast, but the Power Circle is where we really dive into conversations with our guests. We sit around the black table and we have a chat about life, community, art, business, all that perspective, and just really share that journey, and you can hear stories. We have episodes in store for you, but that will be released in January. Plus, we'll have more episodes of Powerverse coming your way with new projects and new performances and behind the scenes stuff on Patreon. So if you haven't signed up on Patreon, that's okay. I haven't got a Christmas gift yet, but you can give me a Christmas gift. Simply just go to Patreon and sign up and be a part of the Power Tribe. We would love to build this community with like-minded people. I'm going to be honest. We don't look for foolishness when it comes to this stuff. So the people who join us on this journey are the people we would like on there who want to be there. And we don't take no nonsense about it. We want to just be around like-minded people. Like-minded people who share the same visions, that share the same, views as us in the perspective. And we want to grow that community into what we call the Power Tribe. So if you haven't signed up on Patreon, go check it out. Sign up, please. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, please subscribe, because we're going to have a lot more videos coming your way. If you haven't followed us on Facebook or Spotify, go and do that now before the year's out. And stay connected to us, because it's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get bigger and better. And we would love for you to be a part of the journey. That is me wrapping up for 2020 Christmas special. I want to get out of this suit because I'm sweating my crack off here, man. Even though the aircon is on, it's like, man, this is hot, but this is hood, okay? Well, I guess this is probably going to be the last one for 2020, unless you hear from me on New Year's from a live stream. But I'd like to say it's been an absolute pleasure to entertain you here at the Powerverse all throughout this year. I look forward to seeing you in 2021. And one more time, Black Santa out, saying, the golden mic from the north, saying, stay inspired, stay empowered, and stay connected. Till we see you in 2021, stay blessed. That's all.